Beneath the palace of King Minos, there was a monster nobody was allowed to see. Half man, half bull, fed on the lives of strangers. Minos didn't destroy it. He built an entire labyrinth to hide it. Think about that. An army, builders, masons. The best a king could come up with for the thing in his basement was to bury it deeper and feed it tribute. This myth has survived 3,000 years. That's not an accident. Every ordered life has something buried beneath it, and sooner or later, somebody has to go down and face it. But here's the thing about this story. The fight isn't the hard part. The hard part is the way back out. Theseus didn't win with the sword. He won with a thread. You came in with a question. You'll leave with a thread. That's the deal. This is the hero in the labyrinth. So let's start where every documentary does, with the king. But this time, watch what the king does with the problem. Minos prayed to Poseidon for a sign that he deserved the throne. A snow-white bull rising out of the sea. The deal was simple. Sacrifice it. The sign arrived, and Minos looked at the beautiful white bull and decided to keep it. That's the whole story of the monster, right there. Not an invasion, not a curse dropped on the island. Minos refused to give back what he owed, and the consequence grew inside his own house. Minos is not frightening because he attacks the monster. He is frightening because he builds a system that allows it to continue. His failure was not mercy, it was possession. He could not surrender the thing that made him feel chosen. Poseidon made his wife fall in love with the bull. The myth is very specific about the mechanics. We will be less specific. The result was the Minotaur, Minotauros, Minos' bull. The monster wasn't a stranger. It was the king's own refused sacrifice, given a body, created inside his own house. So Minos called Daedalus, the greatest inventor alive. "Build me a maze," he said, "that no one can escape." Daedalus didn't ask questions. "Build a cow." "Sure." "Build a maze to hide what comes out of the cow." "Fine." His day job had desensitized him. Daedalus built the labyrinth so well that Minos later refused to let its creator leave Crete. The inventor who contained the secret became another prisoner of the king who ordered it, and the monster went into the maze as a child. The palace above, the beast below, the ordered life and the buried thing. You've seen the documentaries, the birth, the maze, the gore. They tell you the myth. They never ask the question the myth is asking. So let's ask it. Why is the monster half human? Athens lost a war. The price? 7 young men and 7 young women every 9 years sent to Crete to feed the monster. The tribute had happened before. Each return to Crete made the horror feel less like an emergency and more like an institution. Notice who keeps paying. Not Minos. Not the man who built the monster. Athens pays. That's what happens when a person refuses to face their own problem. Everyone else ends up paying for it. The tax on avoidance is always collected from someone. Then a prince volunteered. And this is where the story stops being about Crete. Because every myth about a maze is a story about the inside of a person. And the person about to walk in is you. Theseus volunteered. Nobody forced him. The others were chosen. He chose. This is the exact moment Joseph Campbell called the crossing of the threshold. The hero's journey begins when escape is still possible, and the hero walks in anyway. The hero's journey isn't a writing structure. It's a description of what a person looks like when they decide to stop being a victim of their own life. He doesn't fight the Minotaur at the entrance. He goes all the way in. The confrontation happens at the center, where it's darkest, where there's no audience. That's the part that costs, not the fight, the walking in. So who was the beast at the center? His name was Asterios, often rendered Asterion, a name connected with the stars. The buried monster carried the name of something luminous. Remember that when you meet yours, and it's half human. That's the detail every version rushes past. It is what remains human, but has been denied a human life. In a Jungian reading, this is the shadow. Everything the conscious personality refuses to recognize as its own. The anger, the desire, the power, the grief. The Minotaur is the shadow with a body and a name. And here's the uncomfortable part. It was born. The cruelty was what people did next. Minos didn't feed it his own. He fed it tribute. Athens sent its sons and daughters instead. Now, the story gives the monster its moment. In every video game, the Minotaur finds its way through the maze. In the actual myth, the Minotaur is locked in the maze. The game has it backwards. The monster was never free. The half that's human is the part that wants to be met. Now the story does something most versions skip. Theseus gets help, not from a mentor with a sword, from a woman with a ball of string. Some scholars have wondered whether Ariadne preserves traces of an older Cretan goddess. We cannot prove that. But even in the familiar Greek story, she is far more than a convenient love interest. The thread is not merely a girlfriend's favor. It carries knowledge the hero does not possess. And think about what the thread actually does. It doesn't show Theseus where the monster is. It remembers where he came from. Every step into the maze, the thread holds the map of every step back. I know this voice. I've been the hero who thinks asking for help is the weakness. The thread is the help. It isn't a crutch, it's the technology. That's why the phrase survived 3,000 years. Mathematicians use it for the line that solves a maze. Inception named its architect after her. The English word clue comes from Clew, a ball of thread. The image became inseparable from Ariadne's gift, the line that leads through confusion. So next time you say you have no clue, you're reaching for the thing you left at home. Here's where the story turns. The fight is about to happen, and the fight is not the point. Theseus kills the Minotaur. Fists, or a club, or a sword. The versions disagree. The beast falls. He stands over it, breathing hard. The story could end here. In most retellings, it almost does. But the hardest problem hasn't happened yet. He's still inside the labyrinth. He defeated the monster with strength. Strength cannot find the way out. Pause. This is the moment every telling treats as the ending. It isn't. It's the halfway point. Stop. The sword wins the fight. The thread wins the return. So answer this before we continue. Once the monster is dead, what danger remains? The hero can still become lost. This part of the myth reads like it was written by a therapist. Because people do this. They confront the thing, they win the fight, and then they stay lost in obsession, in rage, in self-analysis, in relitigating the same battle every night. Victory without the thread isn't integration, it's a bigger maze. The thread does what the sword can't. It remembers, and remembering is how you come back. So they escape. Theseus, Ariadne, the thread, out through the dark, following the line home. And then he leaves her. On the island of Naxos, he abandons the woman who gave him the way out. He didn't just abandon her. Later, he married her sister. The hero needed a chaperone. Why would he do that? Because he won the adventure and never completed the integration. He defeated the shadow, but he never learned to keep the guide, and the proof is in the ending. He had one job: change the sails. One job. His father Aegis sees the black sails, thinks his son is dead, and throws himself into the sea. The sea that carries his name to this day, the Aegean. The hero came home. Home was still wrecked. Victory is not the same thing as wholeness. Ariadne, meanwhile, ended up a goddess, married to Dionysus, with her wedding crown turned into a constellation. The upgrade is astronomical, and Theseus never stops descending. He goes down to the Underworld with Pirithous, and gets stuck sitting on a rock, unable to leave. The descent becomes a habit, not a healing. The Minotaur was his one good deed. The rest of his life was an audit of poor choices. I know this sounds like a history lesson. It's not. This is a description of your life. The labyrinth is not a place. It's the shape of a life with something buried under it. The career that no longer fits. The relationship pattern you keep repeating. The fear you keep underneath the competence. The identity maintained to hide the shame. The problem exported onto everyone else. Here's the distinction almost nobody draws. Today we distinguish a maze from a labyrinth. A maze branches and deceives. A classical labyrinth can offer one winding route towards the center. Ancient images were not always consistent, but some coins from Knossos show precisely that single-path design. A maze confuses. A labyrinth guides. So the question isn't how do you escape the labyrinth? The question is what is buried at the center of mine? Because the center is not the end. The center is where you turn around. So what do you actually do? Here's the map. 2 practices, and 1 challenge that takes a week. This isn't self-help that tells you to fix yourself. It's the older kind. Meet yourself. Practice 1. Tie the thread first. Before you walk into anything hard, the conversation, the appointment, the decision, write the thread. 1 person, 1 purpose, 1 promise. The thing that will still be there when you come back. Write it on the smallest piece of paper you can find. Keep it in your wallet. Not because the paper is magical, but because a promise is easier to remember when it has a physical form. Practice 2. Name your Asterion. The Minotaur had a name nobody used. Asterios, the starry one. Give your buried thing a name. You can still call it anxiety, grief, or shame. But describe its particular shape. When does it appear? What feeds it? What happened when it was first buried? Naming is the first act of integration. You can't meet what you refuse to name. And the challenge, 1 week. The voluntary descent. Choose one thing you've been avoiding. A conversation, a truth, a doctor's visit. Enter it voluntarily, not because a deadline chose it for you. And watch the difference between a descent you chose and one that was chosen for you. That difference is the whole myth. The victims were chosen. Theseus chose. You're about to find out which one you've been. Courage gets you in. Connection gets you out. That's the whole episode in one line. The map, not the trap. And the reason the thread matters more than the sword. The point was never just to fight. It was to come back. But here's the problem. Nobody warns you about. The descent can become a habit. There's a part of you that keeps going underground long after the monster is gone. And that part has a name too. Jung gave it one. Next time, we follow Ariadne further. Not as a helpless princess, but as a figure who can illuminate another Jungian archetype, the Anima. The inner guide the conscious hero often fails to understand. This is Mindscape Philosophy, Season 2, Jungian Mythology. Tonight, tie the thread. Tomorrow, name the star. This week, choose the descent. See you in the maze. What's your labyrinth? The career, the pattern, the conversation you keep postponing. Drop it below. I read everyone. This is Mindscape Philosophy. Tomorrow morning, one thread, one name, one door you choose to open. See you in the maze.